Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in today's video, sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms, we're going to be talking about awakening versus refining your equipment. And I actually am about to fight on this account. This is my second account. I need to refine some of my gear, but generally speaking, I think you should be awakening your gear before you then try to refine it. So very briefly, I'll explain what these two different processes do and why I prefer awakening over refining. So when you awaken your legendary equipment in Rise of Kingdoms, you need to use an iconic crystal to take it to tier 1 of the iconic stats. That gives you base stats. From there, you need to use materials and patterns to get more and more stats, which you can see behind my head over here. Now, the alternative is to refine the equipment. Refining is a process by which you use up patterns and you use up half the materials it takes to actually craft a new one of these items to try to get the special talent. When you have the special talent, if the equipment is on the commander type you have talented it for, like infantry, archers, or cavalry, then you get extra stats. And those extra stats come not only up top in the base stats, but also they amplify the iconic attributes that you have unlocked so far. So to give you an example of this, I can get a look at some equipment I have here, although really my main account has just like a shocking amount of this gear. But you can see here, I'm getting not only the 4% defense boost for having the infantry special talent, but I get one more base stat. I get 0.5% more enemy attack ignored. I get a small amount of unit capacity, and I also get extra damage to rallied armies and garrisons. So the flaw with refining is that when you refine, if you do not get the special talent, then you get nothing, and that sucks. I have equipment that is really close to being talented, but isn't, and the bonus for that is 0. So the problem with refining is that you can commit materials and get literally no outcome. Now, in my perfect world, you would get incremental progress toward having the special talent in some way. That way, refining feels like a more viable option. But this means a couple things. First of all, I don't like to start refining something unless I know that I am guaranteed to get the result I want. So if I'm about to fight in KVK, which is really the time where I think it is best suited to doing all your upgrades, which is right now for me, I only want to initiate this on pieces for which I have enough patterns to guarantee that even if I am very unlucky and it takes 4 attempts to refine it, basically each time you refine, you're guaranteed 25% progress, but you could get more progress. You could get 50% progress. You could get 75% progress. Or you get the whole thing in one go. You shoot the moon, which is amazing. It's for these reasons that I prefer awakening, which is a guaranteed result when you awaken equipment. So for example, if I go and I look at this shield of the Eternal Empire, if I start to awaken this, okay, it is less materials than refining is, initially anyways, and the results are guaranteed. So if I were to awaken this piece, I get 2% enemy health ignored. Honestly, I low-key think I should maybe just do this piece real quick. This actually seems really good. That's really good. Okay, now, talenting pieces does give you stats once you get to the talent and you have it equipped on the right commander type. The issue, again, is that if you get part way to the talent, but you don't get to the finish line, GG. You spent materials and you got literally nothing. Now, the calculus for what to talent after you go and awaken stuff gets really interesting. And this is where we're going to go do just a very quick look on this account and talk about the highest leverage. Because you can see, based on these talented boots that I've got over here, that the bonus I'm getting from the special talent, yes, it's 2.5% defense. I get 1 extra base health, 0.5% of extra infantry defense, a little bit of unit capacity, a little bit of march speed, and even this fleeted footman effect gives a little extra benefit. But if I compare to this chess piece, Well, gee, it's one extra base stat. It's 0.5% of extra stat value over here. It's 0.5% of extra stat value over here. Wait a minute. Like, the cost per refine is half of the cost to craft. So in this case, it's 30 for a cloak. And in this case, it's 20 for the boots. So if I refine this and I get the special talent, sure, I'm getting less stats over here in the infantry defense, but all the other ones are the same. Yeah, for the material cost, I think that the boots and the gloves can be, well, maybe not the gloves because it's all unit capacity, but, you know, boots, anyways, end up being like really, really high value to Awaken. Especially because I have these up to tier 5, and especially because I've used a free-to-play pattern that is obtainable every time I enter KVK, that's Shio's Return, and I have 5 of these. So I am guaranteed to get there if I have the materials and I start refining this, which is very worth to me, okay? Now, the funny thing is that when we compare doing, however, a weapon to doing a chest or a leg piece, I actually think the weapon ends up being better value. Now, to show you that, I'm just going to switch over to my main account. On my main account, I've actually got some weapons talented, so I can show you exactly how many stats it is. But TLDR, it's more stats, and a small amount of materials more. So I can show this to you. You see here, this is one base stat, 0.5% of stats, and another 0.5% of stats. That is for the chest piece. But if I go to a weapon, you can see that I got 1% of extra stats over here and 1% of extra boost over here as well on this weapon. So I think if I were to prioritize, it would be probably talenting your boots, then maybe talenting your weapon. Then you can look at things like helmet, chest, and legs, which are all, you know, sort of the middle amount of materials. And then gloves are just really weird because, yeah, like, obviously when you get the talent, you get extra stats over here too. But unit capacity is something that I just don't think very highly of generally. I mean, yes, it's obviously good in the open field, but I mean, compared to the march speed, bro, the march speed just feels like a much stronger pickup to me. So if awakening equipment is, in my argumentation here, the better starting place for how to work on your equipment once you start making legendaries, then the question becomes, should you really focus on one set or should you spread it around across many sets? And okay, I've got my Canyon gear on. This is not one of my Canyon commanders, but the point I'm trying to make is that I think it is worth, if you are an open fielder only, spreading around your bonuses because the material cost goes up and up and up as you awaken. So I think it's better to have more sets with moderate levels of awakening rather than one set where you've kind of moved all in and made it really spectacular. Now, if you're a rally lead, that's very different. If you're a garrison captain, it's very different. You want one set to be pushed as far as you possibly can push it, and it's a completely different strategy for how you approach things. But the value of your equipment, as weird as this sounds, is resource and speed up efficiency. And like, yes, the ability for your kingdom to push a certain position in the field. So if you're a fielder, the resource and speed up efficiency is just going to be elevated more with your materials by virtue of spreading around the things that you awaken, assuming you have the patterns for it, because the material cost is lower at the lower tiers of awakening and much higher at the higher tiers of awakening. I mean, to awaken these Dragon Breath Tassets is going to cost me 60 legendary materials to get to tier 5. That's the exact same cost as crafting it in the first place. That's double the cost of a refine. You see? So I would even argue that some of these tiers you don't even need to think about unless you're a rally leader or a garrison captain, right? Like just getting to T2 for the stats, you're done. T3 is really all about Canyon. Honestly, it's all about Canyon. T4 might have a special situation where it's good, like damage to troops on the map, obviously extremely good for a fielder. Whereas damage to rallied and garrisoned armies may not even be relevant to you at all as a pure fielder, okay? And then tier 5 looks like it's a really big benefit, but it's actually a very minor benefit. So this is whenever the wielder's troop is hit with a basic attack, it has a 10% chance to gain 5% counterattack damage boost for 2 seconds. Like, bro, like this bonus is so minor. The material cost is so high. Typically, the tier 5 buff here is only for rally leads and garrison captains. The exception would be on the boots, and on these boots, you're actually getting a bunch of march speed. So you can see here the wielder's archer unit gains 5% march speed and 1% defense when you're outside of alliance territory. Like, that is still expensive, but given that it's boots, it's cheaper, and it's designed for open fielding. So, all that to say, it's time to get refining, and it's time to refine on my restart account. Now, I think it is possible that I could get a little more value from doing a little bit more awakening rather than refining. So we maybe will still awaken some stuff. But given the quantity of legendary materials I have, we're hoping I get lucky on some of these things. And if I do, then I can also do some awakening. But I want to guarantee that I can get the outcome of the special talent, which is why I'm not going to start with doing the awakening. I'm going to start with doing some refining. So the first thing I'm going to go and do is these boots, the Shio's Return. Okay. A lot of benefits that I get by virtue of doing this. So we're going to hit refine here because this is already tier 5 awakened. All right. So we are going to smash quick refine. It's 20 legendary materials a pop. So here we go. We're going to refine, baby. Please be more than a 25% boost. Come on, baby. Please. Come on. 50. Okay, 50 is good. It's not amazing, though. So at this point, I have an 89% chance of getting 25. So I'm basically guaranteed to have spent 60 legendary materials to get this to where it's talented. And maybe if I'm lucky, it will be 40 total. But let's just hit quick refine. Maybe we get lucky. Maybe we don't. And GG's. That is exactly what I would have expected. We got to do this one more time. It is what it is. It costs what it cost, but we've done it. And now I need to select infantry. And for my 60 legendary materials, which is a lot, I've got 2.5% extra defense, 1 extra base health, 0.5% of defense, another 100 unit capacity, which I think is very irrelevant, 1.5% march speed over here, 1.5% march speed out of territory, and 0.5% of defense while outside of territory. We hit confirm. There it is, baby. Talented Shio's Return, but we're not done yet. What you really should do before you start a little adventure like this also, given that, you know, each material type, darn, nothing special there. I guess it was only 13 keys. But given that certain things only use certain material types, you know, it's worth having your specific materials open to get consumed when you do your crafting. Whatever. Let's go in. We go to the leggies, and let's get this done, shall we? We're going to hit refine. Eternal Night. We're hoping to one-shot this. It'd be insane. But I basically have enough materials, I think, like Exacxies. Maybe if, yeah, I can use all 4. If it goes to pity, right? Pity in this instance, it's not exactly pity, but the guaranteed outcome of 4 refines. So please be less than that. I've got a bad feeling about this. Come on, baby. Here we go. We refine. And 75, baby. Let's go. Okay. So this ends up being 60 legendary materials. And funny enough, isn't it like about the same amount of stats as the other thing I got, with the exception of the little boost over here? I'll get slightly more defense. All right, so here we go. We quick refine one more time. Let's go, baby. Okay. And we smash infantry here. This is awesome. Huge outcome. Very good. Very, very good. Okay. Now, I think all of that, by the way, committing the patterns and the materials is better than going for Wily. I could have spent 60 legendary materials, and what would I have gotten? It's guaranteed. Whenever the wielder's troop launches a basic attack, it's a 10% chance to reduce the next skill damage it takes by 6.5%. And there's a cooldown, okay, of 5 seconds. This is expensive. If I was a rally lead or a garrison captain on this account, different story, okay? But is this worth the Awakening 60 legendary materials? I do have the materials, okay? But this whole, it looks like it's more than it is, right? Like, talented, it will be 6.5% skill damage reduction for one attack that you take, but it's a 10% chance to trigger. So, like, this ends up being 0.5%, not even, of skill damage taken reduction on average, and you're only even getting rid of one skill damage taken. Like, this is very clearly a thing you get if you rally your garrison. That's a bigger deal, but I'm not excited by that really at all. Even being on Liu Chad getting double attacks. I don't know, man. Maybe on combo commanders, that's going to be more exciting. So this leaves me a small amount of materials, and I'm sort of in a quandary now of like, what do I do with this set that is so awkward? I made it originally starting for Trajan, then leadership open field hasn't been a thing for ages, so I don't know. Oh, God. I could awaken this gear, but I'm terrified I might need to dismantle this gear at some point. So I just generally try to avoid ever looking at that set and just focus on, like, the sets where I know that feel very good about these commitments, And I don't think I can, and I don't think I have enough patterns to go for these legs. It's risky. I could do it, but it's risky. I think I will spend a little bit of time figuring out where to commit the rest of these materials. I think if this was a full infantry set, it would be kind of an easy choice to say, dude, you should just awaken this and get your 2% enemy health ignored. And I think that's probably what I'll end up doing, but subscribe so you don't miss it. I'm going to be live streaming the pass openings for Kingsland, and also we've got a fight that's about to start for Zone 6. By the time this video goes live, the Zone 6 fighting has probably already started. And if you want to see what that looks like, check the card right over here. You want to see this gear in action and what my choices were? It'll probably be in this live stream, and I think this video will go live sometime after the stream. So look over here. Check the video. Check this. Check the live stream right here. Click it. I think it's going to be a fun one. At least I hope it will.